Ladies and gentlemen, the unthinkable has happened, and not because Daniel Larson is some good upstanding citizen that you never expect to be seen behind bars, but because every video we've seen Daniel post recently involves some type of arrest-worthy offense, whether it's him going into an Olive Garden and pulling the fire alarm, him running around the mall the other day throwing shit down on the floor because he got sprayed with fart spray. It seems like every other week I do a video on Daniel Larson and all the comments remain the same. It's people asking why isn't this guy being arrested? And well, ladies and gentlemen, you can put your worries to rest because now, as of today, February 4th, 2024, Daniel Larson is officially behind bars. And it doesn't seem like it's going to be one of these things where he's just in there overnight and then let out in the morning, which happens quite a lot with him. This time it seems a bit more serious. This time, Daniel Larson is being charged with evading justice, as I said, meaning that he's missed one too many court dates. And apparently, he's been doing this for such a long time. I mean, everybody who's followed Larson knows that he never goes to his, allotted court dates, and one of these days it was going to catch up with him, and it just so turns out that that day is today. Now, I don't know if this is just for the ones in Colorado, or if this extends to the ones out in New York, and maybe even in California that he still may have. I'm not sure, but one thing that I am for sure of is that no Ween nor Bob Proctor is going to be able to bail Daniel out this time. Well, they probably will be able to, but who knows if they're going to want to when you hear the dollar amount that Daniel's being held on. So Daniel is being held on $20,000 bond. Now, I assume it's only 10% of the $20,000, so about $2,000 to get Daniel out. I mean, even that, these people aren't going to want to cough up. No Ween's just going to want to go, I'll drop a quick $2K to get Daniel out of jail for the lulz, but I highly doubt it. And then Bob, well, Bob's gladly willing to cough up money every time Daniel seemingly needs it. I mean, sometimes he doesn't, and Daniel freaks out on his community tab saying that Bob isn't helping him anymore, and basically Bob's ruining his life, which is such a crummy thing to do when someone just can't give you money when they always give you money. But even then, I don't know if Bob's going to be willing to cough up the 2K. Now, let's assume I'm wrong, and Daniel needs the full 20K to be let out. In that case, there is not a snowball's chance in hell he's getting out anytime before his 120-day sentence is up. Oh, did I mention that, by the way? That's how long this is apparently for. The question I've seen thrown around more than anything ever since this news broke that he got arrested is, will Daniel even be able to make it in jail for just a few months? We know how unhinged this guy is. He's probably just punching himself and beating himself up right now in some random jail cell. You can only imagine if they have him with a roommate or anything, the guy has to be completely thrown off by what he's seeing. Don't get me wrong, I know it's jail, I know they see a lot of crazies come in and out that place, but Daniel is on another level of crazy. I mean, this is a dude who I could definitely see just bashing his head into the wall, punching himself until he gets exactly what he wants. Now, I don't know if they still have padded rooms, but you can bet your bottom dollar that if they do, Daniel's in one of them right now. Although I think those were mainly in mental institutions, and if there's one of those up and running in the Denver area, I imagine that's where Daniel's gonna end up. Because if you were to ask me to make a prediction about what I think's going to happen while Daniel's in there, is that they're going to realize what they truly have on their hands. This is a man who is incredibly mentally disturbed. When you think about the crazy things that Daniel has said and done, even just recently, just to jog your memory, let's go down the list. Just a few weeks ago, he got kicked out of an airport, and on his way out, he talked about wanting to commit a big shooting and stuff. It was just some terrible thing for him to say, something that he probably wouldn't act on, but the fact that he wants to say it just to get attention, or maybe just say it to put fear in their hearts or something, I don't know, it's just something he shouldn't have done. Daniel's constantly on his community posts talking about wanting to drop bombs on certain places, certain presidential places. You know what I'm saying. I can't say it out or this video got taken right down. It still may because of that comment alone. But I feel like if any of these people in the jail just take a look at his community tab, they'll know what they're dealing with. This is a man who thinks he is worldwide, famous. And yes, I am making a video on him right now, so you can say he is famous to a degree, but not to the degree he thinks he is. He thinks he's at that Taylor Swift level. Weirdly enough, I think he also thinks that Grace VanderWaal is at that Taylor Swift level, and that alone is just wrong. The situation situation with Grace is really what shows just how mentally ill he is. Look, he traveled across the country just on the premise of an idea that she may be waiting for him in New York. Now, I know he believes really anything the trolls tell him, hook, line, and sinker, but come on, he went on a summer-long cross-country journey that ended up with him being homeless in New York for 3 months. Like that doesn't just happen to normal, like, everyday people. Most people would instantly be able to see that they are being fucked with. And Daniel, he is fucked with every single day by these people. Grace VanderWaal supposedly texts him and wants a relationship with him and wants to do music with him and wants to sign him to her label, but it never happens. And he's never seen her. And he's never actually talked to her, and he's never even heard her say, like, hey, Daniel, what's up? Which I bet you will change once AI gets to that point, which, I mean, it already has, but I guess the trolls haven't gotten to that point yet. They probably have. I'm just thinking out loud here. But he loves this girl so much, and he is so infatuated with her, and he has been for years, that it proves he'll stop at nothing to try to get with her, even though he knows somewhere deep in his mind that this Grace VanderWaal on the other side of the phone probably isn't the real one. He can't give up that dream, because that hope of being with Grace is really all he has. He's said some, like, really terrible things about her in the past too, and other girls who were minors at the time. Daniel is just, again, he's not all there. He's someone who needs to be kept under lock and key, and whether it's in a jail or it's in a mental institution, people are probably just gonna be pretty over the moon about this. Nobody wanted to see Daniel continue to linger around the streets of Denver or Boulder, Colorado, wherever he was deciding to stay, just so he could just harass the public constantly. And a lot of people will say that it's mainly troll influenced and he wouldn't do any of this without the influence of the trolls. And I feel like some of the more, like, silly things, like going to meet Deion Sanders, that definitely wouldn't have happened if it wasn't troll influenced. But these constant daily freakouts he has inside any restaurant he happens to go into, that's just what Daniel does. Like, nobody's got to tell him a damn thing for him to roll up inside a Baskin Robbins and lose his goddamn mind. And I fall on that side as well. I'm happy to see that Daniel's arrested now and that he's not going to be just lingering around the streets. It's something that a lot of people, like I said, including myself, have wanted to see for a while, because he constantly breaks the law. He constantly skips out on court dates and all this stuff that would get any other person arrested, but somehow Daniel just kept evading it and evading it. And it looks like, at least for the time being, that's all over now. Daniel Larson has been arrested, but what's funny is, when Daniel is known to record every little thing that goes on, any interaction he has, he probably wasn't able to get his phone out quick enough to record this, because you'd assume there'd be some footage of this because it's Daniel, but as of right now, there's not. Maybe some trolls will file a FOIA request, but only time will tell. What you're seeing on screen now is the page that shows Daniel's bond at $20,000. And there he is. It is a misdemeanor, as I mentioned. So this isn't like a felony charge that Daniel's going to catch serious time for. But it's one of many misdemeanors that Daniel's been racking up. And this is just one that they probably took really serious. Daniel's been on probation, by the way. That was something that I feel like was lost in the shuffle of him doing all this stupid bullshit out on the streets, is that the first time it happened, everyone was like, oh, he's screwed. He's going to jail now. And then he didn't. And then, like, he kept doing stupid stuff, and he just wasn't going to jail, so everyone was just like, oh, screw it. I guess his plot armor was too strong, ladies and gentlemen. And now we're at this situation where everything has caught up with him. The parole officer may have just forgotten about Daniel, and then been like, oh my god, that crazy guy's just been not showing up for anything. Go send a warrant out for him. And because it's Daniel, I imagine it wasn't hard to find him. You just look at all the recent, all the calls to the call center at the police department and see which restaurant is complaining today. And yeah, they picked him up. He is in jail. And if any more updates come out, you guys know that I got y'all. Daniel's had a weird few weeks, ladies and gentlemen, and it's all culminated in this arrest, and it's so strange that it's not like I personally thought it was going to be one giant freak out where he maybe hit someone, did something. I was praying it wasn't going to happen, but I thought that it would, you know? It's one of those things where it's like the heart just wants him to get arrested and not, like, have to hurt a single person in the process, but the brain was starting to think, man, they're not really arresting this dude for anything. What's it going to to take for them to actually do something about it, because you don't want to see anyone get hurt because this lunatic is just lingering around the streets. And apparently all it took was just him skipping enough court dates. You know, he can harass the public all he wants, but don't you dare miss your court dates. Seems pretty ass backwards, but I mean, it's fair. It's absolutely fair. He's got to make them things. It's just, this should have happened a while ago. So as I said, if anything happens with the arrest stuff and any more news comes out, I'll be sure to keep y'all updated. But before Daniel got arrested, he was of course very active on his community tab, and I just want to look at a few things here to show you the wackiness that was Daniel's life over the past few weeks. Firstly, this community post here, which goes back to what I was saying like 5 minutes ago. Daniel's saying that if Grace Vanderwall doesn't release her album about him this week, he will now date Taylor Swift. Now, I don't know why he thinks he's just going to steal Taylor Swift from Travis Kelce, especially around Super Bowl time, but Daniel, he's adamant about that. I assume someone is now playing the character of Taylor Swift saying how much they love Daniel, and again, Daniel he just completely believes it. He's like, of course Taylor Swift wants me, even though he's just living from bus stop to bus stop, bench to bench. All these women are just clamoring to be the next one to be, what is it, The Bachelorette or The Bachelor? I don't know the show, but Daniel basically just has his pick of the litter, and he's picking Taylor Swift next. It doesn't seem like, again, like she has any say in this. Daniel's just deciding, yes, they will now date because Grace Vanderwall doesn't have a music album about him. I guess he's for sure that once he breaks up with Taylor Swift, she'll put out a song about him, but I don't know Daniel's logic here. He's not all there. I'm trying to make logic of a guy that's not all there. What does that say about me? Christ. In last week's Daniel Larson video, I had mentioned that people were making PowerPoint presentations and kind of like having Daniel go to these mock classroom sessions, teaching him about history, and then in this week's case, music and entertainment 1. Now, I don't know exactly what was going on here. This all seems really like a giant waste of time from everyone involved, but I'm not gonna lie to y'all and say this didn't make me chuckle a little bit. So I don't know where this is taking place, if these people are having Daniel on like active Discord calls from the hours of 9 through 11 teaching him about these fake class subjects, or maybe they're just sending him links to these PowerPoints and Daniel thinks they're legit and that he's learning stuff. Nonetheless, the only reason we know about this is because Daniel's posting it all in his community tab, showing off the fact that he's going to school again. I do believe that Daniel thinks that this is like classroom subjects, that's all like, this is all happening at one of the Colorado colleges that he was trying to just waltz up into. And so now let's start by talking about the first slide of this music and entertainment thing here, lesson plan, whatever it is. So this is the first ever music composer whose name is apparently Sir Ruben Madick. I mean, it's such like juvenile humor here, but it's stuff that Daniel probably doesn't pick up on, which that's what makes it funny. You know, if this was like any situation, people would be like, oh, haha, clever. But the fact that Daniel believes this all is truth, enough that he's posting it to show everybody, to all the awesome things that he's learning. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you want to hear one of Ruben's songs? Well, this is one of them. This is a song by Ruben that I assume, again, Daniel just takes for like, oh, wow, look at this, so interesting, one of the first ever songs ever written, not knowing that it's a jab at Daniel being a predator. This is the song Ruben wrote. I went to town with a frown. The people laugh over me. It wasn't my fault that he got hard on the corner of Orphanage Street. and you know, like I said, the fact that Daniel's posting this, the fact that Daniel's showing this to other people, it's on Orphanage Street too, of all places. Dear God, Ruben. There was another one Daniel posted too. The guy said that, he found a firm stick between his legs and it felt good when he punched it. There were so many just wacky songs people had written, and Daniel, he was pretty excited just to learn about the history of music and the history of all things. I think one of the last posts he made before getting arrested was that he was learning about Easter and Stonehenge. So who knew what the trolls were telling him regarding those two things? I assume he's talking about the Easter Island heads, but I don't know. We'll never find out now because the little bastard's arrested. And as I said, if anything more comes out of this, I will of course let you guys know. But I thank you for watching the video. Thank you guys always, man, just for showing so much love, for making this such a tight-knit community. Wouldn't be the same without having you guys here in the chat for the live streams and down in the comments. And that's what I'm going to ask y'all. What do you think is going to happen with this? Do you think Daniel's going to stay the full time? You think someone's going to bail him out? What do you think happens with Daniel Larson's story next? I'm going to try to respond to as many of y'all as I can. And until the next time, y'all, I'm going to get out of here, and you guys have a safe rest of your day. Thank you for watching.